As the first time I've done quick takes 2 weeks in a row, the rest of TGS clearly had some more interesting news worth talking about. A few trilogies were announced to be coming to Switch that I'm excited about, there were more great trailers to watch, and generally just many announcements that are worth being excited about. Thanks to TGS, the rest of this year and the next are really shaping up to be ones jam-packed full of JRPGs to play. So let's take a look at some of those and what we know about those games on this episode of JRPG Quick Takes. One of the most exciting pieces of news to come out of TGS for me was that the Atelier Dusk Trilogy was announced to be coming to PS4, Switch, and PC. Like the Online Trilogy, this will include all 3 games from the Dusk Trilogy, including Atelier Ayesha, Atelier Escha and Logy, and Atelier Shallie, and will include content from its Plus versions and various DLC. Playing the Online Trilogy at the end of last year and the start of this one was such a great way to start the year, and I've really fallen in love with the series all throughout this year, as you can probably see on my channel, so I'm naturally really looking forward to picking up, playing, and reviewing all 3 of the Dusk games in my effort to play everything in the series. I'm particularly excited to play these now that I've played Nelke as well. The Dusk characters like Ayesha and the others were very likable in that game, so it'll be great to get to know them more in their own games, and with how good the Arlen Deluxe Trilogy played on Switch and PS4, I'm sure trying these other Ateliers will be a joy, and I hope that this is a sign that we keep seeing more Atelier new and old on modern consoles. Genshin Impact was a game I slept on a little during E3 due to the fact that its company MiHoYo Games is known for smartphone games, albeit ones that look very good, but that fact made me think that Genshin Impact would likely be something similar. While Genshin Impact will come to smartphones as well as PS4 and PC, its TGS trailer and others showing off its characters and world shows a fun and big looking world that definitely has me intrigued thanks to how beautiful it looks. One thing I noticed while researching around was that it's being called a Breath of the Wild clone by a lot of people, and I can't really comment on that since I haven't played Breath of the Wild myself. However, since I like an anime aesthetic when I play games, looking at this big world with characters I like the look of gets me excited anyway, especially since its story with dragons looks like the kind of thing I'd be interested in as well. I'm glad its TGS trailer got me intrigued enough to probably look into it, as it's definitely something I want to try. So while it's due out in 2020, I look forward to seeing more of its world before that time next year because it looks really good. If you're like me and you've been looking for a way to start the almost overwhelmingly big Trails series, the great-looking Trails of Cold Steel 3 just got a free demo on PSN this week that might be a good way to try part of the series for free. The demo is said to go through the entire prologue chapter, including a boss battle, and data will be carried over if you eventually decide to pick up the full game. One minor thing worth noting is that NIS have recommended creating a save file just before the demo's final boss to prevent you from missing the trophy you get for beating it when the full game comes out. So if you're someone who cares about trophies, that's something you should definitely do, and I know I probably will if I end up playing the demo. Overall, I'm happy to see this get a demo, as although my plan was to start from the first or second game in the series, it's hard to argue with a free demo, so I've downloaded it already, and depending on time I'll give it a try since I thought its recent trailers have looked really good. Trails of Cold Steel 3 will come out in full on October 22nd for most people, so before that, feel free to let me know what you think of this demo if you try it. A little more news was revealed about the upcoming Fairy Tail RPG by Gus and Koei Tecmo during Koei Tecmo's TGS livestream. There were a lot of live streams on during TGS, so I didn't watch everything in the stream, but there were a few things that sounded interesting when I read up about it in summaries, including that some elements in the game will be inspired by Gust's Atelier series, such as the way the map will connect the towns and the fields together. And they've also promised the game will feature some places from the anime too, like Magnolia Town and Crocus. As I've said before, Fairy Tail isn't something I know a bunch about, so I was happy to hear that the story will be based around the animes for the most part, with game flow revolving around growing your guild, which adds more features to the world around you as it grows. It's also been said that some original story content will be put into the game in a way that won't disrupt the story flow, making it sound like a good return to the story for people who are already fans of the series, and a good content-filled way to discover this story for first-timers like myself. With the game apparently developed about 50% so far, this new footage and information detailing it certainly makes it seem interesting, so I look forward to hearing more about it in its October livestream that Koei Tecmo have promised to hopefully see it in more detail. The Erdrick trilogy of Dragon Quest games, Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3, have been announced to be coming to the Nintendo eShop for Switch on September 27th, the same day Dragon Quest 11 as Definitive Edition comes out because that day clearly needed more Dragon Quest. Each of these games is pretty well priced, with the first one being the cheapest at $4.99, and with the third one being the most expensive, still at only $12.49, making them a convenient and affordable way to try out more of the Dragon Quest series. These ports will also feature the slight graphic updates from the smartphone versions as well, meaning they're a little nicer than just straight ports of the game. So as good value Switch games, I'd love to try these at some point, as Dragon Quest 11 made me want to dive more into the Dragon Quest series. So I hope people enjoy these ports that I plan to play someday too, and as I said with Atelier, hopefully if these do well, we'll see more older Dragon Quest games come to Switch as well. As with any video game conference, there were plenty more announcements and trailers that were at least worth touching on briefly, including a post-TGS announcement that was too fun not to mention. So here are some smaller but still interesting announcements from this past week in JRPGs. An interesting monster collecting series with its roots in the PS1 era called Monster Rancho will be getting an upgraded port on Nintendo Switch, iOS, and Android later this year in Japan. This had already been announced before TGS, but TGS was the first time I saw it, and I was pretty excited to see this as I've been wanting to give it a try since fellow JRPG YouTuber JRPG detailed it during our collab late last year, and I really liked the sound of its monster generation system as something that sounded unique. One of its monster generation systems involved putting a different disc in your PS1 and it would generate a monster from that. However, since this Monster Rancher port will be on systems that don't have any way to use CDs, the CD generation will instead be activated through a CD database, and until September 30th, Koei Tecmo Japan have a campaign where you can submit which monster you think should spawn with a certain CD that will be considered for the final version. There's been no Western announcement yet, but I hope this one gets brought over as I'd love to try this game with unique monster obtaining mechanics and play with its funny looking monsters too. Tales of Arise received a new trailer at TGS showing off some gameplay and potentially teasing a new character, with the main characters we've seen so far, Alphen and Shion, seen running towards a character who is behind the camera, and we also see the brief appearance of a cute looking animal creature too. Aside from this new character, the gameplay shown also looks very good and reminds me more of Xenoblade visually, with its battles set on big sprawling landscapes, although I'm sure the actual gameplay systems will probably be quite different. Nonetheless, Arise continues to look good, so hopefully we'll get a more solid release window for it soon the next time we hear about it. Dragon Quest XI-S was another game that had a long livestream dedicated to it that I clicked through just a little, and aside from looking at various announcements such as amusing Dragon Quest XI themed food coming to convenience stores that I will have to hunt down when they're out, there was a really good trailer for Dragon Quest XI-S at the start that focused on the new features that the S version will have and made me wish there was more time in this month so I could play it. The trailer showed a lot of things, including some of the costumes you can wear in the game, and also some of the quests that will only be able to be played in the new retro mode, which I'm still very curious to try. So even though I won't be getting it right away, this month does look good, and this trailer is a good reminder that I need to get it at some point. Yakuza Like a Dragon had a lot of gameplay shown in its multiple live streams as well, showing off more of its turn-based gameplay and showing that you can summon people you've befriended into battle, and also showed some fun footage of its side content. On top of that, it was also revealed that producer Yasutaka Nakata, who has produced some songs for big Japanese artists like Yari Pami Pamu, Perfume, and also the menu theme for Dragalia Lost Song by Daoko that I love, will collaborate with reggae band Shonen no Kaze, who have done music for the Yakuza series in the past, and together they'll make a theme song fitting for new protagonist Ichiban. I'm interested to hear how this theme song will end up, as I love Nakata's sound and I'm curious to see how that will translate into a game that has quite a different music style to what he usually does. And aside from music, I also just want to watch more of these live streams in general, as the side content looks like a lot of fun. So I like the look of how things are going with Like a Dragon so far, and hopefully we'll hear more about it soon. Japan's Atelier smartphone game Atelier Online got an unfair amount of new content, mostly in the form of new characters coming to the game, with character additions ranging from Nelke to Rorona and even Lydian Soul, with it looking like Ryza and Sophie are being teased to come at some point too. I've liked the look of this game before in the small bit I tried in the past, and additions like this make me wish it was out in English, so perhaps as Atelier keeps gaining popularity in the West, we might see it someday. But until then, this trailer looks very fun, and maybe I'll come back to the Japanese version sometime. In another live stream, Project Sakura Wars had about 20 minutes of gameplay shown, showing off some of its story moments, its dating sim elements with conversation choices, and its fast-paced mech battles. The game looks really smooth so far, and characters seem very cute and charming. So as another one I didn't watch all of but liked what I saw, I hope to see more of it in English maybe soon. Another game that missed me before TGS was Sword Art Online Alicization Lycoris, but from the footage shown for it at TGS, I like the tone from what they've shown so far. The general idea behind the game is interesting too, as it's meant to be its own arc of the Alicization story from the anime, and with a world as big as it looks in the trailer, it seems like a lot of effort was put into making this a story worth playing and feels like it has a story all of its own. Since I haven't watched the Alicization series of Sword Art Online, I do wonder if this will be accessible to those who are jumping back into the story or even into Sword Art for the first time. So I'll probably leave whether or not I play this one down to that, but since Fatal Bullet was so fun and the TGS trailer for Alicization looks so good, I do hope I get to play this one too. Atelier Ryza received a beautiful story trailer that did a good job of showing how the story starts, with Ryza and her friends bored with island life until they decide to go on the adventure that brightens up their world. I liked the look of a lot of things in the trailer, from the story itself to how good things like its landscapes and facial expressions looked. So this, along with a new trailer that details more of its synthesis and item rebuild mechanics, I think are worth a watch if you want to learn more about the game. Another thing I also came across this week was a Japanese Let's Play video on Japan's PlayStation channel with Japanese wrestling duo Timecodes playing Ryza from the start, and in that you can see the start screen of Ryza along with the actual start of the game. I stopped watching when text started popping up on the screen because I want to keep at least some part of it a surprise until it's actually out, but I'll put a link to that in the description in case anyone wants to watch it, and it's a good reminder that this game is fast approaching. In a smaller announcement, the previously delayed Steam release of Dragonstar Varnir will now launch a date earlier than its previously announced release date, as it will now come out on October 8th rather than the 9th. Reading about this date, I also noticed that the regular and deluxe editions of the games will also be 20% off during its launch week, so if you're a PC player who hasn't tried this game full of Compal Heart transformation sequences and unique mechanics, I recommend giving this one a look, especially at a reduced price. After that beautiful trailer that I showed in the Lost Quick Takes video, Final Fantasy VII Remake had its own livestream that showed off a fair bit of gameplay. Notable things from this one were that we got to see some of its menu UI, and we also learned about the inclusion of a classic mode that turns the active style of gameplay where you hack and slash to fill up AP basically off and just has you put in commands, which is supposed to give it more of a turn-based feel, but it more so reminds me of Xenoblade systems where your characters hack and slash by themselves and you just put in commands rather than a Final Fantasy turn-based system. I'd love to hear other people's opinions on this, but it's nonetheless interesting that they decided to put a classic system in this way that is still very much mixed with a new style of gameplay, and since I'd rather just play one or the other personally, I'll probably just stick with the new action system. Other things showed included seeing Ifrit be summoned, Tifa and Aerith used in battle, and also just running around and seeing how things played out as story events triggered on the map, which is the part I enjoyed watching the most, as the world manages to look really nice despite being in such a dark area. I skipped through this one a bit too just because there was so much TGS content, but what I saw looked very good, so I'm looking forward to watching more of the stream, and I wonder what they'll show us next time in the months leading up to its release. As a final, light-hearted announcement, a new Pokemon called Sirfetch'd was revealed on Pokemon's YouTube channel as a Pokemon Sword exclusive, and as the name implies, it will be an evolution to the more classic Pokemon Farfetch'd. I I love Sirfetch'd as a name and its general demeanor so far, since he kind of reminds me of an RPG knight. So since Sword is already the version I want of the new Pokemon game, I think he's one I'm definitely going to try to get. The video was a fun reveal, so hopefully we'll see more Pokemon revealed for Sword and Shield too, perhaps with an exclusive one for Shield, and I look forward to seeing more Pokemon from this game in the lead up to its November release. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below what announcements you liked from this video and what JRPGs you're looking forward to. You can like and share this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel for more JRPG content like this, and ring that bell to get notifications on whenever I post so you don't miss a thing. You can check out more videos here, and you can find me on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at JRPG Jungle. And until next time, thank you, bye!